Hello students. In the previous session, we learned that Evelyn Glennie is leaving her own place, Scotland, for London. She is about to go to London to the Royal Academy of Music to learn music. She is nervous because she is from Scotland, which has more farms, and the life of Scotland is not as fast as the urban life of London. She is excited too because to learn music, like learning music was her dream, and now she is going to fulfill her dream. uh, that is why she was excited as well as nervous. Okay, and we got to know that she means Evelyn Glennie is absolutely deaf. She could not hear, and which was the biggest challenge for her. Now, Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. I suddenly realized she had not heard, says Isabel Glennie. So here we know that slowly Evelyn Glennie started losing the power of hearing, and one day she became absolutely deaf. And here another name has been mentioned, that is Isabel Glennie. So Isabel Glennie, we know, is the name of Evelyn Glennie's mother. Now Evelyn's mother, Isabel Glennie, recalls one incident when her daughter Evelyn was only 8 years old. And the mother says that one day Evelyn was waiting for her turn to play the piano, but when her name was called out, she did not respond. And then the mother realized that something was wrong. So she realized at that moment that Evelyn did not respond when her name was called out because she did not hear her name being called out. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. So here, conceal means to hide. Now it means that Evelyn lost her sense of hearing slowly. It was gradual. That means she did not lose her sense of hearing all of a sudden or in a day. No, slowly and slowly she started losing her sense of hearing. Gradual here means in phases, means step by step. So slowly she started losing her hearing power. So at the very first, when she was able to hear partially, means when she was not completely deaf, or when she was able to hear but not very well, what did she do? At first, she managed to hide this disability from her friends and teachers. Means she managed to hide this thing, or hide this hide this thing, that she was losing her hearing power, and so she was hiding this from her friends and teachers at the very first. Okay, but by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated, and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. So here, when Evelyn was 11 years old, her marks had started deteriorating. Okay, and means her marks of being unable to hear got worsened. So it went reducing more and more. That is why the headmistress urged her parents, means the headmistress requested her parents to take Evelyn to the specialist or to the doctor. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. So when the doctor checked upon Evelyn, he found out that Evelyn had completely lost the sense of hearing because of a nerve damage. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. So now the doctor advised Evelyn's parents that they should bring hearing aids for her. Hearing aids means which is an equipment that is fitted into the ear of a person, and which helps the person to hear to some extent. Okay, not completely, but it enables one person to hear to an extent. And moreover, he also suggested that Evelyn should be sent to a school which is specially made for the deaf students, for the students who cannot hear. Now, everything suddenly looked black. says Evelyn. So when Evelyn got to know that she has become deaf, she would not be able to hear anymore. And when she got to know that she was no more as good as a normal person, and that is why when she got to know that she would be sent to a school for deaf children, her world became colorless. And that is why she says that everything suddenly looked black. It means that all of a sudden you get a bad news that you don't expect, and it becomes such a bad and worse situation for you that you see blackness all around you, you see darkness all around you. Okay, so that's exactly how Evelyn Glennie responded or reacted to the news when she got to know that she would not be able to hear anymore and would be sent to a school for deaf children. Now, but Evelyn was not going to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. So now, here we know that Evelyn had determination. Okay, she was a determined girl. She was not going to give up. She was not going to sacrifice or give up her normal life. She got such a shocking news, but still she was not giving up. The bad news could not break her. She was determined, she was resolute to not to give up, and was determined to live her normal life like the normal people and follow her interest in music. Now, one day she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. So now one day she saw a girl, Evelyn Glennie saw a girl playing the xylophone, which is a musical instrument, okay, and she wanted to play it too. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. Now, many of Evelyn's teachers discouraged her. They did not encourage her to play the xylophone or to learn music because they knew that she could not hear, and hearing was obviously an important part of music. But there was a person who was a percussionist, means who played so many instruments, who knew to play so many instruments, okay, named Ron Forbes, and his name was Ron Forbes. And this person saw that Evelyn was very passionate about music. She had the capacity or the ability or the potential to learn music, and so he decided something. Okay, now let's see what did he decide. He began by tuning two large drums to different notes. Okay, so what did Ron Forbes do? He thought that he would teach Evelyn to feel music. He took two large drums, and he tuned them to different notes. Okay, drums are the musical instruments, as you all know, and he tuned each drum to different notes. So the sound produced by the drums was different. Both the drums made different sounds. And then he told Evelyn, "Don't listen through your ears," he would say. "Try to sense it some other way." Okay, so now he told Evelyn Glennie to not to try to listen through her ears. He told her to sense it. He told her to feel the music in some other way and not to hear it or listen to it through her ears. Says Evelyn, "Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down." So now here waist means waist is the middle part of your body. Okay, so here Evelyn says that as Ron Forbes had tuned both the drums to different notes, that is why Evelyn says that her upper part of the body, the waist up, means the part above the waist, could feel the higher notes of the drum. Okay, and the waist down, meaning the part down from the waist, or the lower part of her body could feel the lower notes of the drum. Forbes repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. Now, Ron Forbes, what did he do? He kept repeating this. Thing, and very soon Evelyn realized that she can sense different notes in different parts of her body. Okay, so this is how Evelyn can listen to sound although she cannot hear. She can feel music through her body and not through her ears. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. So, Ron Forbes taught Evelyn to respond to different sounds. Different parts of Evelyn's body responded to different sounds. Okay, and that is how she was able to identify the sounds as well as different vibrations. She was able to identify them. So as she was able to identify the sounds and vibrations, she overcame the hurdle, she overcame the challenge. Okay, and that is how Evelyn kept moving ahead. She kept moving ahead as she had the determination to become a good musician, and she also did a lot of hard work to reach to her goal or to reach to her dream. Now, she never looked back from that point onwards. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. So now when she started feeling different sounds through different parts of her body, she progressed in her career. She kept moving ahead. Evelyn also toured the United Kingdom, and there she performed with a youth orchestra. Means she performed with a group of young musicians there. Okay. And by the time Evelyn reached the age of 16 years, and or when she when she became 16 years old, she had decided to make music her life. That means she decided that she would dedicate her entire life to music. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of the academy. So Evelyn gave an audition for the admission to the Royal Academy of Music, and her score was the highest in the history of the academy. She scored the highest mark, and no other person could score such a high score as Evelyn did. Now, she gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. At the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. Now, we already got to know that at the very first, Evelyn used to perform with a group of musicians, right? But as she got well in her music and as she got confident, she started giving her solo performances, and she started performing alone and not in groups. Okay, and when Evelyn completed her 3-year course at the Royal Academy of Music in London, she had achieved all the top awards. So we know that Evelyn Glennie really worked so hard to achieve what she wanted to be. So students, we will stop here for now, and yes, we will stop here for now, and we'll continue the further chapter in the next session.